If I told you there was a story
Where are we?
from a forgotten place,
See anybody?
I see you.
filled with shadows
Something weird is going on.
and the unknown,
Yeah.
where solving the puzzle only leads to dangers and greater discoveries. Would you be willing to take a peek? Over the Garden Wall, a 5-night mystery adventure, beginning Monday, November 3rd at 7, 6 Central, only from Cartoon Network.
Yeah, it's been 7 years since that promo aired on October 21st, 2014. Who would have thought a 5-night mystery adventure would proceed to gain such a loving and passionate fan base? I mean, I wouldn't have. The fans of this show have discussed, theorized, and enjoyed almost every single aspect of this 10-episode long miniseries, and I think I speak for most of us watching this right now, but we've all watched this show many times in the past 7 years. We've all theorized about the true meaning of the show and examined every clue and inspiration for it as well. We've all listened to the amazing soundtrack over and over and over again. Now, Over the Garden Wall has turned 7 in the last few months, and it's approaching its 10th anniversary fairly quickly too. So let's be honest with ourselves, okay? Ever since finishing that last episode for the very first time, we've all stopped and thought to ourselves, is that it? Could there be more? Now listen, I completely understand that the charm of this show is that it's so short. It came and it went, and I personally agree with that opinion. I really do think this show is perfect as it is, and it doesn't need a second season or a film either. Over the Garden Wall is Over the Garden Wall, and that's the way I like it when we're watching this show every fall since. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your viewpoint, I don't know, this might change soon enough. You wanna know why? Well, let me explain.
Giant arms race. The streaming landscape has been getting more competitive.
Linear TV, no offense to what we're doing right here, is in trouble.
The streaming wars.
It's been dubbed the Streaming Wars.
Who will win the streaming wars?
The streaming wars are a real thing, people, and they've been going on for years now, and they're heating up more than ever. And most of these giant companies like Disney, Netflix, Warner Brothers, Amazon, and Apple are on a full-on war with each other with one simple goal in mind: getting you to open your precious wallet and subscribe to their service. Things are getting so serious that Warner Brothers have done one of the most outrageous things, like making mostly all of their 2021 theatrical releases day-to-day on HBO Max, meaning any movie that releases in theaters tomorrow releases on the platform as well tomorrow. This was obviously met with an overwhelming amount of negative reactions, as this truly hurts the movie theaters. Not only that, but theaters could have disappeared during the pandemic anyway. Now, I could go on and on for hours talking about the streaming wars, as it's such a sticky topic, but let's focus back on Over the Garden Wall. So, you might be asking right now, how is this even related to such a niche show like Over the Garden Wall? Well, it's simple really, and I'm gonna give you all just one magical word, or more properly known as intellectual property. These two letters combined to make a single word are the reason why Disney spent $71.3 billion to acquire Fox, and why Microsoft spent $68.7 billion to acquire Activision Blizzard. Owning popular franchises like X-Men, Titanic, Deadpool, and in Microsoft's case, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Candy Crush of all things, is extremely valuable. Without intriguing IP to attract potential subscribers to your streaming service, there's little to no chance for your streaming service, let's say the name of it is Mega Movies Plus Max Stream X, there's no chance that it could make any money. Now, do you know what Mega Movies Plus Max Stream X could do apart from acquiring a popular IP? You guessed it, they can always open their vault and revive all IP or adapt hardly known IP with tons of potential. Now, I know, the chances of a miniseries that aired 7 years ago like Over the Garden Wall being revived or adapted are extremely low. But with the way that the streaming wars are being fought, and these giant companies using everything in their arsenal, I would not be shocked if tomorrow we get a trailer for a live-action Over the Garden Wall adaptation. Yes, the possibility is there, and I think Over the Garden Wall is perfect for something of this nature. As to why I think that, well, let me explain again. After years and years of amazing films and animated shows being produced, some people still tend to look down upon it, calling animation things like childish, and with these people being 110% wrong about that statement, the fact of the matter is that people have an easier time consuming content that's live action and not animated. So having a show like Over the Garden Wall that could lend itself so well to live action, and that is my personal opinion, could be a big attractive factor for some. Now, Over the Garden Wall could work very well as live action, and I also think it could work very well as animated too. Like I just said, some people look down on animation and just have an easier time watching live action or getting into live action. But lately, a new breath of life have been given to animation lately, and it comes in the form of anime. For some reason, during the pandemic, a huge wave of people started watching anime, and they all started appreciating animation in ways that they never have before. Not only that, you have shows like Arcane that came out recently, completely animated, but it has the charisma and the writing and just the action of a live action show, really, just as good, if not better. So, if this theoretical continuation of Over the Garden Wall, whether it be a movie or a sequel, decides to be animated, I think it'll have a fan base and a lot of people that will watch it. And if it decides to go live action, I personally think it could lend itself to live action very well. The atmosphere, the storytelling, the tone of it, I think it could be great either way. So it just has to happen, but that's besides the point. Let's move on to the second reason. God, we've tried to get our friends, family, or special someone into the show. Sometimes we get them to watch it, and most times we don't. So it's safe to say that my neighbor or my grandma doesn't know about this show at all. This is good because they'll have nothing to compare it to, and if anyone works on a new film or show, they'll have an audience with no previous knowledge of the original show. Meaning, it makes it very easy to make any necessary changes for an adaptation without any pushback at all. Something similar just happened in Netflix with Cowboy Bebop. Yes, it has a big fan base, but those who didn't watch the original anime found themselves to at least like the show, unlike the hardcore fans, which most of them hated it. To be fair, the changes that Netflix made didn't work in favor of the show, but that's just the weave in me talking. All I'm trying to say is that Over the Garden Wall not being so well known will make it easier to adapt it, really. And any pushback that happens will be sort of minimal since, let's be honest, the fan base is not all that big. So that is reason number 2. Let's go for 3. We might be few in numbers, but god damn it, if a trailer for a live action Over the Garden Wall adaptation drops tomorrow and it's awesome, only if it's awesome, we will all start preaching and spreading the good word of that amazing trailer. Our wives will know about it, our pets will know about it, our neighbors will know about it, our unborn sons will know about it. While it's very unlikely that the adaptation of anything will make the hardcore fanbase happy, if a new show or movie looks amazing and against the favor of the fans, of us, the show will go places. And this is very attractive to a lot of the streamers. Having the backing of the fans that have been there since day one speaks volumes to those who aren't familiar at all. This could make the new show or movie very popular even before it releases. Again, let's think back to Cowboy Bebop. I can bet you if that trailer they released or that promo was a bit, let's say, more enticing to the hardcore fans and they just spoke very positively about it, the word would have gotten out and more people would have checked out the show, maybe. Now, I understand that having a very dedicated fan base can also be a negative. Again, Cowboy Bebop, that did not help it at all, having all the negative feedback go into the show's face. But one thing is guaranteed, and having a strong fan base and dedicated fan base guarantees that all those fans we'll check it out, you know? If an Over the Garden Wall movie or new show is made, we will all be there to take a peek at it, you know? And at least they'll get some viewers numbers that way. So that is reason number 3. Let's go for one more.
Oh, potatoes and molasses. Si felices quereano bis lenes et caldi valuti catuli.
Now, for the most important part would be the story. I feel like the thing that makes Over the Garden Wall so special is the story. The simplicity of it is so relatable, even though it's so strange to us. Essentially, the story is about 2 brothers that get lost in the woods and they have to find their way out. Now, you would think the best stories are the most intricate ones, and that's really not the case. There are times the most simple stories are the best ones. All that matters is what you do with that simplicity and how you build a story around it, a full-fledged story. And Over the Garden Wall does a fantastic job at this. The story generally makes you care for these characters. You laugh with them, you stress with them, you get scared with them, you cry with them. And that is what a good story does. So with such a strong foundation, which is the story, I feel like for me personally, that's the most important part. As long as you keep the story as the core, it does not matter what medium you put Over the Garden Wall in, I feel like it's gonna excel either way. Now, I already know I brought up Cowboy Bebop before, but I think I have to do it again. The original anime had such a strong foundation for the story and the characters, which is very similar to Over the Garden Wall. All they had to do was somehow translate that into live action. You can change all the things you want, but as long as you keep the story intriguing and the characters relatable, just like the original anime, I feel like you could be very successful. Now, that doesn't mean the characters have to be the exact same, but you also can't make the characters extremely foreign. There is reasons why Beatrice is not built as a quiet and shy little bird. There's reasons why she's sassy and sarcastic towards everyone else. That there's a chemistry between the characters, and this is done on purpose. So when you go out of your way to change characters to maybe fit this idea you have in your head of that character, there are times that these characters are meant to fit the story in a certain way. So all I'm trying to say is, as long as the story remains intact, and this is a wonderful story, we all know this, there's a lot of potential. So yes, that's why I think Over the Garden Wall is ripe for a remake, adaptation, etc., whatever it is. The story. All the other reasons really can be interchangeable. You can do whatever you want with the characters, well, not too much. You can do whatever you want with the style that you're going for. You can do whatever you want with the tone, or even the characters themselves or the music. But the one thing you shouldn't change is the story, at least not too much. You want to keep some resemblance of the story, you want to keep some resemblance of the characters, and I feel like everything else, it's okay if you mess around with in your adaptation or remake, whatever you're doing with this IP. But at the end of the day, I really don't know any better than my neighbor or my grandma, really. I am not an executive at Warner Brothers or anywhere, really. I am not a showrunner either. So it's safe to say that I'm mainly speaking out of passion here, and the little knowledge that I've collected over the years I've spent learning about filmmaking and showrunning. But I relate the question to you guys. I mean, do you disagree? Do you not? Is there like any between that some of you might fall into? I mean, I know a lot of people that love this show and they truly do, and it's really 50-50 for the most part. Some of them are just cool with a new idea to come out. Others are just very adamant that they want Over the Garden Wall to stay the way it is. And I sort of fall into that camp, but I also fall into the camp of, hey, if something's gonna be made, it better be fucking great. So, I don't know, that's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, and I've been wrong before, and honestly, that's okay.